it's Xavier and welcome to my bonsai retreat, and today we're in for a little bit of feast from Adam, who's put together quite a little video of what he's been doing with a couple of Tony's trees. He's calling out for quite a bit of advice, so he's going to get a fair amount of airtime in this video, which, to be fair, has got to be good, because less of me, more of someone else is always better for the channel. I did mention in the episode 1 of the legacy trees that I had actually pruned the larch, which was part of the bonsai challenge. All the leaf tips and that, they're yellowing off, and to be fair, it needs to go somewhere shady and just be left alone where it can sulk quietly to itself. But I've no doubt it's going to be fine. Lovely pot, nice movement that Tony put in with his vet tape, and I think he did vet tape on this. In fact, there's a video probably somewhere there which shows the collaboration and this tree featuring. Not sure how this branch is going to work because it's got a bit of a cut into the branch itself, but from my experience of larches, they're pretty hardy, so we'll put that to one side, and probably we won't be seeing that this year, I shouldn't think. Yeah, so we'll be going through to the field maple in just a moment, where I did quite a bit of work on it, to be honest. But before that, big shout out to Jason of the Bonsai Garden. We all know that he's got more than one talent, and I got a free copy of his haiku poetry, so I'm going to be enjoying that over the coming time. On children. Other people's kids, sometimes ugly little things. Best to hold your tongue. I'll let you pose on that one, but I like it. Thank you, Jason. Okay, so let's go and have a look at me hacking that field maple that Tony let me look after for him. Now, another one of Tony's trees that he just let me have was this field maple, and as you'll know from a previous video, I don't have field maple. I don't have them. So there's not a lot I want to do with this, but I do recognise that I need to do a little bit of pruning on it. I want lots of growth going up the top. Haven't made any decisions where any chops will be, but I just want to make some real quick, obvious pruning wins, so that I don't end up losing. Obviously, there's a top point of view, some weird bendy thing here. I don't want weird bendy things right now. Got no idea of design at this stage, so let's just let the tree help decide for me. Just clean it up. I may well be looking down there, to be really honest. A lot of broken stuff here. What I want might be down there, so the tree height may not be any. I may lose all this, but what is clear is we've got this one here. It's almost like a handlebar. There's no way that's going to work, so I'm going to cut that one back. Under here, all these, let's just cut these right back for now. Who knows, that may get cut off there, but really not interested in that. This one, even if this was going on, this the way the shape is, I don't like. I can still see it. I'm going to be going down low, I think, on this one. So, although it's helping with healing, I don't see the trunk thickness that I've got down there is absolutely ideal. It's exactly what I want. So this tree is it may even get chopped here, to be honest, but for now let's just do that. So there we are. I can do that because I am not trying to get that trunk to be any thicker. So now I'm looking at seeing where potentially the best secondary branches, the primary structure is going to be. So yeah, a lot of the time it's hard to describe what's going on, and I really think this top half I'm going to lose and remove it and stay a lot lower down. Could I make that choice now and do the cut now? Absolutely. Is now a good time? Absolutely. Especially if I'm thinking about putting this into a bonsai pot. But in fact, the more I think about it, I don't know why I'm talking myself out of it. I'll tell you why I can make this decision. All the real movement for that tree is in the bottom 6 inches. This here is relatively straight, so I think I should make that decision now. Tony, I'm doing it now. The tree's in there. Just seal the top. There it is. That is going to be a fantastic show-in tree, and the reason why I did that chop now in the end is because I know I'm repotting into a much smaller pot. The minute I do that, there's going to be, you know, substantially less ability for the tree to send out shoots and grow. So what I wanted to do is to use the rest of the time this year to send out loads of shoots to try and re-establish, start the healing process, so that when that comes out and goes into a smaller pot, it's not going to be such a shock when I start working on it. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. There's our tree. This is potentially going to be our new leader. I don't know, there's some great trunk movement all around here. And who knows, I may even decide to chop even lower. But yeah, so hopefully that was the right decision.
Hello Xavier and your YouTube community. My name's Adam, and you'll have to excuse my crude technology. I've got an old Samsung phone which I'm recording with, and a Bluetooth microphone. Not the best Bluetooth microphone, but hopefully you can hear me. And I'm just coming to send you a little video giving you an update on what's happening with the 2 trees that I picked up from Tony's Bonsai Extravaganza in the middle of June. I did pick up 2. I actually got a third, which I know you got a tray of, but some of these Japanese black pines as well. I got one of those. I've not been into bonsai very long, so my idea here is I'm just going to sit and let you guys guide me with what I need to do. I have some basic horticultural understanding, but very basic. I watch your videos to help me learn. So I'm hoping you give me some advice, maybe give me some pointers about how I can best care for these, because it's important that we keep this going. So the 2 trees that I got from Tony's basically was a oak tree, an English oak, which is lovely actually. It's a really nice looking tree, really nice. And this, which was decided at the end of the day, Tony said it was a Korean Fir tree. Now I don't know, I've not got anything like this in my small collection, but hopefully someone in your comments might be able to identify it and confirm that it definitely is a Korean Fir tree, but we were unsure. There was about 3 or 4 of us stood around this tree at the extravaganza, scratching our heads going, is it this, is it that? We'll start off with the oak tree. I'm not sure how old this tree is, but from the soil it's in, it looks like it could have been dug up. Urban Dory, Amadori. Doesn't look like it's been kept in any of Tony's normal soil he's made videos of. It looks like it's just pure dirt. It's got a lovely nice taper and nice little wavy shape, S shape. See the wire marks on here. You can also see there's a lot of new growth come through. This is all new. There's a little bit up here at the top, some new growth, and some of this is all new growth at the back as well. So it is a nice tree. Lots of black branch choices, lots of movement, and a lovely taper. Like it's consistently tapering thick to thin from the bottom to the top. It's really nice. So I have some ideas about what I want to do with this. However, I would like to know what you think I should do with this, because ultimately I feel like it should be treated like Tony's trees. So maybe I'll get a saw out and just cut the top off. Maybe I'll just, I don't know, go at it with a knife, stick a load of tape around it, some vet tape around it, and bend the hell out of it. Snap it, chop it up, see what happens. Tony's trees always seem to survive though. I have a feeling that if I do that, because I'm not a bonsai master, they're just going to die. So I don't know whether to play it safe or whether I should just do what Tony would do. As you can see, the soil's really dense. When I water it, I notice the water runs down the sides, but it's not really going through the soil. Not the greatest soil medium, but it's okay. I'm still keeping it nice and wet, watering it daily, so it's not going to dry out, that's for sure. But it is pretty tough. I don't know whether that means I should probably repot it next spring. I was just going to leave it. It seems fine. Again, this new growth. It's nice and thick. Lovely new growth coming out the side there. No inverse taper. Some great movement going up here. And look at this nice taper. Just gradually getting thinner. Nature's done a great job there. Little help from Tony. Maybe I should defoliate some of this. Although there's plenty of light's getting through because these branches are quite leggy. You know, there's nodes there. I could probably prune them back to try and get some growth at the back of the branches here. I could just leave it. Yeah, I could just leave it. Second tree is this Korean Fir tree. It does have some nice, it's nice and thick at the bottom here. Lovely. A little bit of taper going up. It's got a nice textured bark. Quite pale. See, it's got some growth coming on. It seems to be okay. It's not got any problems with it. Could do with a bit of weeding, get rid of some of this moss. But once again, I believe this is not. I have to dig some of this up. I don't think this is Tony's soil mix. I don't know where this has come from, but it is absolutely loaded with roots. I can see there's a little slit in the pot there, and I can just see absolute roots galore. Better if I take this, and there's one coming up to the surface here. So I'm thinking that this probably next opportunity I get, getting some biogold, next opportunity I get, this will need a repot, putting into a different pot. Here, I'll put it into something a little bit nicer. But yeah, it has some lovely movement. You can see they've had a big chop on here. Really fine little needles on this. Very nice, actually. I'm very lucky to have got this. But yeah, not a lot I can say about this because I don't know anything about them. This is the only fir tree that I'll have, and I want it to do well. So advice, please let me know and keep up this content, Zav. I appreciate what you've done. I appreciate all of the effort that's going to go into you maintaining these kind of legacy trees. As you can see, it's got a really thick moss going all around it. But look at this lovely movement. It's just got this really nice kind of slow kind of movement, subtle, apart from when it gets this top part where the big cut. But yeah, if you can help me out with this, that'd be much appreciated.
Hi Xavier, here's a little update on one of the trees that I picked up at Tony's Bonsai. This is the Blauw's Juniper. So all I've done is put a double coil of wire going up the trunk and just add a bit of movement to the trunk to create a bit of interest. And then after that I've put some wire around some of the larger branches, and again wrapping some coils just to create a bit of interest. So the development of this will be that these wide branches are going to be the future gins, and then over the subsequent years all these small buds inside here are what will become the tree's branches. And this is another one of Tony's trees that I was lucky enough to pick up and bring back. This is his very famous Nothofagus Raft in his beautiful handmade pot. Now this tree just wants a little bit of a tidy up. All these long extensions just want coming back, just to bring it all back into a bit of shape. I think just pull out the odd weed or two. Right. Let's add a bit of a trim. It's looking better. Now there's just two things that I'm going to do to this now, which I think is going to make it look a bit better. And I'm thinking of removing these lower branches here, just those two. And it's going to reveal more of this trunk line, so you can see the three individual trees there, just here. And also, as Tony's done here with the wire, to lift this trunk over to the left, I'm going to do the same to this tree here, and just bring that up a little bit more to that direction. I've already prepared my wire, so that will hold that one in place, like so. And it kind of matches the angle of this one here. So I hope Tony would approve. And then lastly, I'm going in with the cutters, being brave, as Tony would. There. Now I've left these extensions as they are. I'm not going to touch those this year. I think I'm going to let them extend and thicken up, and then maybe look at those next year just to reduce the height of them. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with that. As I say, I hope Tony approves in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks everyone.
Well, I thought my video production was impressive, but it's clearly not as good as Adam and Russ's. Thanks very much for your efforts there, and yeah, lots to think about, and I really encourage everyone out there, including Tony, to put your comments down. Where do you see those trees going? The oak clearly, I think, has got room to have, probably lose the top quarter, if not the top third. So that's selecting 3 or 4 branches as it goes round, and then reducing there and trying to increase that taper even more. And with the ABs, the Korean Fir, again, there's choices there about losing the top quarter, I think. But my advice is definitely with the oak, defoliate it, at least partial defoliation. I probably wouldn't do any cutting back. I've found that with oak down here in Grantham that they can not be as happy about that. I'd probably want to see that get into nice soil. You could, if you wanted to, take a chance in the autumn and slip pot both of that and repot both of those. I probably wouldn't go as hard on the roots, but you could definitely consider it and get it into a more friable soil, ready for the full autumn, early winter, when there's going to be some root production. And then probably, if you don't do it then, definitely in the springtime, get them out, get them into nice friable soil, not necessarily into bonsai pots. You may want to do some more development, depends what you're thinking of and what the comments suggest. But yeah, I think 2 very good trees there that Adam's got, and Russ, you're clearly well on the way, certainly with the Nothofagus. Happy with both, and the wiring on the Juniper. Yeah, excellent. So over to you guys. Anyone else who's got some of Tony's trees who fancy doing a little bit of videoing, and you've seen how easy it is. I'm quite happy to add in a little bit of editing, and I'm sure my little ceramic man will put in some smart comments. But brilliant, thanks very much guys. So really all I was going to say now is, although this is literally following fast on the footsteps of the Saturday special, the actual filming is probably about 7 days apart. So in fact it's probably longer than that. And at the time, I don't know, I think I mentioned about the silver birch, I was going to just leave it. Well, I've looked, and there's actually some signs of low budding, and I'm going to recognise that there's no way I want this up here. There's too much leggy growth, there's too much everything. I'm going to do some quite hard chops now. So Tony, if you're not happy about that, what I need you to do is take your right hand, slowly lift it, do that, And just hold it there until I say, look now. Or go and get yourself a cup of tea, come back when I've done the carnage. So, here we go. And the first one I was going to talk about is this one here. We've got growth that's out on the outer extremities, but there, right there, is a nice bud. There's a nice bud down there. And because I know I'm going to be bringing the height down of all of the forest, I'm going to do it. And the same here, I'm going to take that one right back and see what grows. So this forest height, I see it coming down around this height. Again, you look at this one. Now I know there's little bud points there. Lovely bit of movement here and here to here. If I'd got something there, I'd be really happy. So we're going to get rid of that. Looking at this one, again I can see very close little buds. So this one is actually looking not very well anyway. So I'm just going to cut it right from there. There's green in there. And when I'm talking about buds, this is what I'm talking about. For those of you who've not seen silver birch, this happens all the time. They love sending up suckers from the base. As soon as they think they're going to lose upper branches, that's what you'll see. So that's a dead branch anyway. This one is going to be possibly too low for what I want. And if you're looking here, little suckers there, they're all there ready to come. So I could get a nice big base and throw something up. What I actually want is there's a little one there that might come out, and I want these tree heights to be much lower. So all I'm going to do is work my way around, and because I know that's the maximum height that we're looking at, I can already make decisions like this and not worry about it. I'm going to regrow. I might leave some stubs where I can, but I'm literally going to regrow most of this from the existing stump. That's still dead anyway. See, that's dead because of the colour. Take it back further. Still dead. Further. Still dead. That's still dead. Okay. Obviously with this one we'll be looking at potentially the whole thing is dead, but we'll wait and see. What I'll say, and I think it happened with Steve at Steves BackyardBonsai, he had a whole great big high forest planting, I think. I don't know whether it's fir or something. And he recognised that no matter how much he liked having this height, there was problems with the top, and he literally cut to the bottom 6 inches. And then I think he showed us a video a little bit later on, and you saw all these buds coming up. And actually, if you imagine lots of buds coming from here, you suddenly get the most incredible trees, but you've been forced to reduce at first, which you really didn't want to do. Quite like the movement of the twin trunk on here, so I'm actually going to just keep where I've got little foliage bits coming. There's little bits there and there, so I'm just going to reduce it back to these points where I know I have got nice growth, and tell the tree I want it to do something exciting to. If that's the highest point of the bud here, lowest bud here, and I get nothing lower down, then that branch is absolutely useless to me. So part of me is saying, do I tell it to actually give me something lower, and the only way I can do that is probably to do that. And same here. If I'm looking at a bud point there, let's do that. These are okay, I'm not worried about these. And for anyone who has got silver birch and they get worried by this whole ethos of they drop branches and they're difficult trees, well, I know for a fact Tony says they're absolutely the easiest thing he's ever done, and you've seen what he does with them. Local conditions definitely play into that. Down here, you know full well from the last video I did on silver birch that I've had dieback issues, so I'm a little bit more careful. So unless I'm forced to, I won't necessarily go back hard in one go. I'll do it in increments and see how the tree responds. Obviously where we've got this situation where it's already a big problem, I'll go hard and tell it I want stuff in the bottom. But what I wouldn't do is do nothing. Now is a perfect time to be doing pruning, and you know, there's quite a few professional bonsais. I think Ryan Neal's one of them, who says little and often, certainly with silver birch. But that's my 2 penny. So what have we got here? This great big long thing, dead all the way up to there. It's looking dead there. Still dead. Just starting to get a bit green down there. Okay. So where I've done that, I'll do a conical. Because what I'll do is I'll fill the ooh, that was horrible. What I'll do is I fill the hole. It's a lot easier. And then you can often get budding coming from the edges. So that's where we've got to on this silver birch forest. And you know, when you looked at what it was, the initial creation put together, fantastic. The next stage of development, I can't help feeling that even if it had been healthy, I'd have been bringing it back down anyway. Never be afraid to look at the heights of your trees, especially forests, and go, do you know what? This needs to come down in height. Look at how much more movement is going to be in there, and granted the pot suddenly becomes a bit deep for it, but hey, that's for another day. I finished putting cut paste and putty into all the crevices and holes, done a bit of weeding. I'm not going to feed it particularly, mainly because a lot of soil in there, and I think the balance in there will be fine. And if they are particularly unwell, then as Percy said to me in another video, got to be careful about using fertiliser on a tree that you think's ill. And the reason for that is simply because the roots, if the roots are struggling, then they're not going to have the energy to actually do anything with that fertiliser, and you're going to be taxing them to try and convert the fertiliser into energy as well as to grow. And basically it's like giving an old person like me a 100-kilogram pack and ask him to hike up Mount Snowdon or something. I just won't be up to it. So you can overload a system, and you know, I think he made it on the point of my Satsuki video. It was a Satsuki Azalea. No, I think he actually made the point on my silver birch video actually, and it is a valid point to make. Be very, very careful about fertilising a tree that you think is sick. What I'll say on that case is that actually that video had probably got it through the comments, had been done a good few months ago, and has kept being shoved backwards in the upload pile. So I've already had 6 weeks of big growth on it, and the roots had already recovered over the winter, and I was just starting to do the rebuild recuperative work, and that's why I decided that it was appropriate to put fertiliser with it. And sometimes it's a choice by choice basis. You know, we've got to be careful about following the rule book. There are guidelines, but ultimately you know your trees, you know the physiology of your trees, and you've got to follow what you think's right. But Percy, thanks very much for putting that comment there, because it is important that people recognise if your tree's ill and really struggling, the last thing it needs is a whole load of fertiliser. It's the classic conundrum when we see a sick Chinese elm. What do we do when we first get it? Oh, let's prune it, repot it, let's put it in fresh soil, let's move it somewhere else, and we do so many things so that the tree says, hey, cheers mate, thanks very much, and then dies on us. Anyway, I've gone off on one again, haven't I? So there you go. Actually really, really looking forward to seeing how that develops. Okay, this final one, the Scots pine. I've actually decided I'm going to stay freaky on this, and I'm going to wire it up as hard as I can. So I'm going to put some wire on there, come back to you and show you what it's looking like. Yeah, I have this front somewhere around there. I think it's going to be somewhere in that arc. These are rough branch placements, but you can see I brought all this leggy growth, a lot in, and yeah, well, it looks interesting. I definitely think it looks interesting. This healing fine. And really, the key here is I've pulled a lot of needles off, And the whole art of this is going to die. The whole art of pulling needles off is to try and encourage back budding. So that will be the back. Who knows if we can get something coming. I might, part of me wants to straighten that probably just a little bit, but we'll put it there somewhere. So the front's going to be somewhere in this. It's either in there or might be around there. And we're hoping for lots of back budding. So, from Xavier, I think I've finished the last of Tony's trees. The only ones I haven't looked at are the two spruces in tins. Mainly one of them is Alex's, and he's going on holiday for a few weeks. And I'm going to be doing his watering. I'm sure nothing will die. No, don't want to worry him, especially if he watches this while he's on holiday. Hi, Alex. Yeah, so I'm going to let this recover. I like it 100 times better than I did before. It was just this scraggly all sorts. At least you may not like the structure, but it's got a structure, and that's probably the key. I've made decisions where I want to go with it. I'm really hoping for back budding. That's what I want on this, and to get back budding I need to let this lot just go, and just let it go out. I've resolved anything where we've got more than threes, and hopefully this will do well for it. Dougie's balls are of course in there. In fact, I need to go up to Scotland and have a feel around and see if I can get some more of his balls. But definitely want to... Stop. Okay. So, it's one of these odd times because, you know, we're all united in prayer, thought with Tony during this time and his family. And I think it's admirable. I think it's fantastic just how many videos you're getting out, Tony. I think it's even more fantastic how much you're trying to convince your father to give up early retirement and to actually do all the work for you. And all I say is please look after him. Hopefully this isn't morbid or anything like that, Tony. These are your trees. You know, hopefully this will give you a chance to see they're in good care, and who knows if God or whoever it is that you believe or what you believe thinks that Tony's bonsai needs to stay around a bit longer, hey, you may even be trying to bargain to get your trees back off us. So, from Xavier, thank you so much to everyone else who's contributed in these two specials. Hopefully we're going to see more. I imagine the next update is going to probably be in 3 to 4 months, so there won't be anything more from Tony's trees. Oh, apart from Tony's challenge trees, which he and I did a collaboration, and he got the larch and he gave me 3 trees. I'm going to be doing an update on those in another week or two. But from Xavier, glad you're all getting behind Tony. Keep on getting behind him. Keep on pushing him to do his trees. We want him to keep putting out videos until something tells him he can't, because that's the way I think he should be living his life. Enjoy it, have fun, and everyone else, happy bonsai and God bless. Cheers.